So you remember when Trump held that upside-down rainbow flag with his name messily scrawled across it, and people thought he was going to be a good LGBT ally because of that? If you believed any of that for just a second, what made you think he was going to be an ally because he messily scrawled his name on our flag and held it upside down at a rally? And if you still believe he's going to be an ally because of that, if you still believe that, I don't think there's hope for you. Hey guys, it's Bailey, and unless you've been under a rock these past few days, you know that these past few days have been rough for those of us who are transgender in the United States. And this all started on a great way to wake up on a Sunday afternoon, seeing an article that says the Trump administration is basically penned a memo that says they want to try to narrowly and legally define gender as your biological sex. And by biological sex, I mean penis or vagina. So, according to them, intersex people don't exist either. I want to read to you guys directly from the New York Times article that broke the story. The Department of Health and Human Services is spearheading an effort to establish a legal definition of sex under Title IX, the federal civil rights law that bans gender discrimination in education programs that receive government financial assistance, aka things like public schools. Basically referring to the argument in places like public schools that say a transgender student can use the bathroom that they identify with, which protections were given to us by the Obama administration. The department argued in its memo that key government agencies need to adopt an explicit and uniform definition of gender as determined on a biological basis that is clear, grounded in science. Okay. When has this administration ever given a fucking crap about science? You have all this stuff to back up climate change, and it's just fake news to you guys. But with this, oh, this is real science. It's real science because you claim it as such. Never mind the countless studies that have already been done about gender identity versus biological sex. Never mind the fact that intersex people actually fucking exist. Never mind that biological sex itself isn't even binary. So, also as a side note, I'm going to include down in the description a study done by Harvard that I found really interesting, talking about cis male brains versus trans male brains, and the same with cis and trans women, and basically how the structure is basically the same for trans male brains and cis male brains, and the same with trans women. And of course, if that wasn't enough, just a couple of days later, the Trump Department of Justice said that transgender people can be discriminated against in the workplace and be fired for having an identity other than cisgender, which again falls under the category of rolling back Obama protections for transgender people. A few hours ago, I also saw that the Department of Health and Human Services has removed gender from their website. Now, first time Trump attacked our rights was when he first tried to ban transgender people from serving in the military. And that was under a time of very tense political bullshit. We are at a time right now, we are under even more tense political bullshit where all eyes are on him. I mean, if you flip through the news every day, all eyes are pretty much on him anyway, but that's beside the point. We have the death of the journalist, the tension going on with Saudi Arabia, Trump pulling out of the Cold War-era arms treaty with Russia, the fact that China and Russia are listening in to Trump's phone calls when he calls from his iPhone, which he denied from a tweet from his iPhone, and last but not least, the midterm elections about 2 weeks away. Honestly, I think this is a bit of a distraction. And I know what you're going to say. You're going to say, our rights are under attack, this is not a distraction, how dare you even suggest that anything he does is a distraction as people try to argue what's what. And I'm going to say the timing doesn't exactly lend it to not be a last-ditch effort to try to steer the midterms or try to take attention away from his other shit, but at the same time, it should not be ignored. The fact that he is again resorting to attacking one of the most vulnerable minorities in the US is not something we should take lying down, or take with a grain of salt, or just completely ignore. Honestly guys, I've been saying this from the beginning, we should pay attention to everything. Treat everything like it's something that's important. I know that sounds contradictory with me just saying that it's a distraction tactic. If I'm making sense, it's both. Well, listen up, Trump, GOP, and supporters. You cannot erase trans people. You cannot erase non-binary people, you cannot erase intersex, you can't erase gender nonconformity. We have existed for hundreds of years, whether you have noticed us or not, whether you have validated our existence or not. We existed before Trump, We existed before Obama. We will continue to exist after we get this mess cleaned up. You cannot erase gender identity. And for those out there who are feeling terrified, whether you've transitioned, whether you're starting to transition, whether you've just come out, whether you're hiding in the closet, no matter what your situation, your fears are real, your fears are valid, but we can't give up hope, and we have to keep fighting. The only way we're going to get through this is if we show them that we can't be erased. And well, that basically wraps up the video. I will also provide down below with the study I was talking about, the article I wrote for Transgender Universe, basically detailing the original story, and I will hopefully update as events come. Stay strong, everyone.